Hi, everybody. This is Holland Martin, and thanks for joining me today on the Never Die podcast with 1977 Marion High School graduate, Tony Nukes. Coach Nukes, thanks for joining me today, man.
Thank you very much, Howard, for having me. It's very much an honor and a pleasure to be here this evening. After watching some of your shows, you've had some highly respected Marion Giants on here. So to be in their company and be a part of this show is very pleasure.
Well, thanks for watching, man. I'm just trying to build the Marion, almost like filling in a jigsaw puzzle of just kind of a chronological order of like Marion. Right. Sports are so big. It seems like for me on my podcast, I kind of pigeonhole into the 75, 76 guys or the 95, 96 guys. But I'm been talking to some other guys, and we're going to, like I said, fill that jigsaw puzzle.
Piece it together. You've been doing a very good job too.
I appreciate you, man. But let's get into you now. You graduated in 1977, which was a pretty good athletic heyday basketball wise, but doing my research, football, you guys did really good junior year in baseball, I believe, too. It was a regionals, I believe. And John Macon was there. I mean, big,
that's correct.
So let's kind of talk about those high school years, and then we'll kind of circle back to the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like you said, I was graduated from Marion High School in 1977. Grew up, born and raised here in Marion. Got to participate in a lot of activities, a lot of sporting events here at Marion. Started out, of course, freshman basketball. Most Medley was my coach back there, and freshman basketball. We were undefeated in basketball, football, and baseball as freshmen back then when we first started out. But getting back to like football, we played pretty good in our junior year. I was a defensive back. We had some good people, like you said. Johnny Macon was on that team. Dr. Jeff Bragg, he was quarterback back then. Yeah, we did pretty good our junior and our senior year. Back then, again, we played over to McCullough Field.
Yeah, Memorial Field.
Memorial Field. In fact, we had the pleasure of playing the last game.
Yes.
On that field. The field at Marion High School was supposed to have been finished for our senior year, but there was a delay. We got to play that last game there at Memorial Field, but had some good times. Coach Dick Newton's, who's the stadium, our current stadium's named after. He was our coach. Along with we had Clyde Riley. We had Robert Jones' father, Wiley Jones, was one of our coaches.
Okay.
Rest in peace to Wiley.
Yes.
We had it going on back then.
We're losing a lot of great ones, Coach, man. Just no rhyme or reason. I just had a friend have a heart attack driving and wreck. This last 3 years have been unbelievable.
Yes.
Around this time in 2019, people started getting sick. Everybody's getting sick, and didn't find out till around February, March that it was COVID. And it's just been fascinating.
It's been a time. We've had loss in our family behind that also. It's been a rough time. I really feel that you just have to stay prayed up and be ready. Our time is already accounted for. So no matter what the time it is, just stay prayed up and be ready.
Be ready. And then you have to take care of your affairs too. I'm noticing, a lot of people don't have living, wills and things of that nature. And then the brother you don't even know from across town, he's trying to come get the money that should be going to the real family, So
that's correct.
It's a lot of things that and then myself included, I need to get some type of will and estate and who I'm going to leave things to, because you never know.
Yeah, we never want to cross that path. We never want to discuss that, but it's very important. It's very important to do that. That keeps a lot of tensions and things down when that time comes in your family too. So you want to be prepared.
But let's start from the beginning, Coach. Now you were raised in Marion. Now, what neighborhood, what schools did you go to back then?
See, hey, as the young folks say, I was from Seaside. I'm from Central Marion. Down there in 11th and Ray Street, and where my parents are still. I'm still blessed to have my parents. They still stay down in that area right there. God bless them. 86 years old apiece. I love them dearly. But we grew up down there. I went to Clayton Valley. Clayton Valley Elementary School down there on Washington Street, which is now, I think, Andrew Morrell has a church down there.
A community church.
Yes. Doing big things with that building. Yeah. Then I went up to Martin Boots. We was up there at Martin Boots on, I think it was around 4th Street, somewhere around there where the old high school used to. There's Martin Boots up there. Also, Jones was there too. Jones Junior High School was up at the old high school. We had to bus down to the Coliseum to take our gym classes back then.
That's what I heard. Yeah. One of my friends said they was walking the gym class and they used to hold people over the bridge.
Over the bridge. We never let that out, you know. My mother's probably figured out now that she watching.
Yeah, he was class 76.
Yes, sir. We used to have gym class. My gym used to be our last class, so we used to walk home. We used to walk downtown, stop at Vogel's Donuts, and get those day-old loans on the way home and things of that nature. A good time at Marion High School, like Jones, that is. And then, of course, came on out to the big house. We got the Marion High School was completed when I had freshman year. Back then, they had 3 freshmen. We had freshmen at Jones, freshmen at Marion, and freshmen at Justice. I was in the boundary line, just made the boundary lines to go to the high school. So I took my freshman year was at Marion High School back then. So
different schools, different school system. Even Thomas Jefferson over on by Wade Street and Meridian there. It's different. Emerson on top of Washington.
Right. Right.
Lincoln.
And I kind of like the way they're doing that now. That everybody's a giant. It used to be the Jones Panthers. It used to be the Justice Patriots and the McCullough Bears. Now everybody's a giant now, and I like that because that's what we're going to be when you get to the big house. I call it the big house.
It is. Some great memories in that place. So I'm intrigued by the construction of it, because I had assumed that it was earlier, but I didn't realize that it was that 72 to 75 era that it was being built. I thought it was 69, 70.
Yeah, I can remember still going to the Coliseum to watch basketball games down there in 68, 69, when they had that good team with Joe Von Price and Richard and Joe Suter and all those guys. They lost.
Last both times. They got cheated. They said they got cheated. The light was out.
The school board had a lot of work. I think Steve Downing for them like 6 fouls, and you were supposed to get 5. There was a whole bunch of stuff, and I believe my father, I think, almost busted our TV screen as we watched that game.
That's what I love hearing, man. Like somebody that was actually there, because they say they got robbed in 68, boy, they got robbed in 69, but they ended up getting George McGinnis too early or something, and then they got beat.
Yeah,
Bill Green
they got beat, and who would have known that Bill Green would end up at Marion High School?
And, I just want to talk so much with you, Brian. It's just unbelievable.
That's okay.
But so you actually played against Mark Surface your junior year.
Yes.
He was head coach his last year at Logansport before he went to Newcastle. We lost 16-13. But we was up 13-0. What happened? What happened in that game, bro?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. I had to take the blame for that game. Well, here's what happened. I'll tell you what. Again, like you said, Coach Surface was coaching Logansport at that time. They had a receiver. I don't know if his name was Lozier or somebody. They had a pretty good receiver. I think I was a junior at that time. Yeah. And I actually was playing. I actually run. I was quarterback. But I know that one deep down in the fourth quarter of that game that he called it. That guy caught a touchdown pass over the top of my head in the back of the end zone, and I just felt so bad that game. But well, because Logan Sport was pretty good, and we went up there and gave him a good game. Yeah, we gave him a good game.
Just things that touching in, and you also have, you said, Jeff Bragg was a quarterback with Carlton Hayes, super athletic, man.
Oh yes.
Talk a story about him.
That's my best friend. Carlton Hayes, my best buddy, stays down in the Indianapolis area right now. But yeah, he was a very athletic quarterback, and I think back then, Carl, I think he felt that he wasn't being able to use his athletic ability at that time. Yeah. So Carl's kind of dismissed himself from the team, I believe, at that time. But he was very athletic. He played basketball for the state championship team. And that, again, he's my best friend. I love him to death.
But then Jeff just stepped in and you guys just kept rolling.
Yes, he did. I call him Dr. Bragg. Yes, Dr. Bragg.
Yes, he delivered a lot of people around here.
That's right. Dr. Jeff Bragg, he stepped in and called the shots for us. And we were very successful.
Also on that junior year team, you had John Macon, big-time running back, but went on to Purdue.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Talk about just some of the practices, having to go against him one-on-ones. And
Yeah, we did. Of course, Big John, like you said, he went on to Purdue, played well, got drafted, I believe, by the Buffalo Bills at the time. But John used to drive a Chevy, a blue Chevy, I believe it was, and he used to come pick me up, and we go to practice or whatever you do after practice, take me home. But going against him was used to fear it. We'd be on a scout team. They'd be running the plays, and of course, it was most of it was live for us. And him coming through that line, if you didn't hit him below his waist, and that wasn't a guarantee, you weren't taking it down. Nothing up top on Big John. Big John knew what he was doing. Had some good linemen then too. I think maybe Dino Cannon might have been in that line back then. Fogel. There might have been a guy named Fogel. I'm not for sure with all the names, but we had a decent line there too.
Yeah, Joe Neal ran the ball as well. Jim Stanky, Willie Bonds. I mean, you had some guys on there.
Willie Bonds, we call him Missouri Mule. That was Willie Bonds. I remember Mr. Donald came up with that name because Mr. Donald was from down that way. And when Willie came up, he said, "This is old Missouri Mule. He's going to show you how it's done." So Willie Bonds was really fast. Yes, he was. Oh, yes, he was.
The Missoula Mule. So let's move on from the football, the junior year. So now, we talk about they win the state championship in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
That junior year as well, the 76. So they wanted the year. I mean, it's just crazy. Can you talk about that back-to-back era during your school time and some of the things that happened?
Yeah, it was a very good time at Marion High School back then. Those back-to-back state championships. Dave Colescott. We had him back in. Who was that? Rob Acord, I believe, was Bill Lester, Kevin Pearson, Tuffy Jackson, Joe Neal. It was an awesome team. Yeah, went to school with all of them. In fact, Dave Colescott and I, we played Little League baseball together. His dad, Mr. Coach Colescott, Jack Colescott, was one of our coaches back then. We played for the Exchange Club, but we always was eager. I know that I remember trying out for those teams. Of course, I played freshman basketball under Most Medley back then, but trying out for that varsity team, I tried out for the varsity basketball team. Yeah. And I'll never forget that Bill Green sat us all in the bleachers that day. We were going to have the cut. And he told everybody there, he said that a lot of you are going to get cut today. And he said that a lot of you could go elsewhere and start. A lot of you could start on somebody else's team. We're probably gonna have a pretty good season this year. Nothing against everybody, but knowing that when he said that, and then when they won the state championship, getting cut from the team wasn't all that bad. Became part of the M Club. We had a good M Club, a good booster block back then. Yeah. A lot of us football players were part of that M Club, and was at every game. We would travel, go on the road. We'd take fan buses on the road to those games. Had a very good showing for Marion back then. And never forget going down to Fort Wayne, getting the hotel rooms and going to the Coliseum. And it was just, we knew that we were going to be in that night game. There was no doubt about we was going to be in the night game because we played 2 games back then. So we knew we was going to be there. So we get our hotel room and we do our thing and then go to the night game. Yeah, we were there. It was very good times back then.
I love it, man. And just to interject a little bit, that 76 team, guys really wasn't supposed to win.
That's correct. That's correct.
This guy going through talking to Dave a few times and some doing my research that guys lost a lot of people. It's really like Dave coming back. We could talk about that too because you remember the look of the 75 team was much different than the look of the 76 team. You know what I'm saying?
That's correct.
You know what I mean? And you were, it had to be a different time.
I think the 76 team, they had to work a little harder to get it, to earn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lost a couple of games.
Lost a couple of guys.
Joe Neal got suspended a couple games.
Right. But they had a good point guard in James Freshwater. I'll tell you that. Yes. James Freshwater, he was one of the hardest working point guards we ever had. Of course, all those Freshwaters come through. You know the Freshwater name.
Oh man, all of
it. Yeah, every last one of them. So we had that, of course. So
I think he helped take some pressure off Dave, and then Dave excelled to Mr. Basketball.
Yes.
Not really expecting that because he was only basically returning starter. And like I said, now they went from, looking one way, and you got some brothers in there on the 76 team, and it was a little bit adversity.
Right. But again, like you said, they wasn't really expected to go back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they did go back to back, the pressure was on that 77 team now, see?
That was tough, too, that 77 team.
Yeah, and that's when they brought back the slam dunk.
Yes.
The very first, I'll never forget this, the very first game that we played, I think it might have been against Wabash, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
It was a home game, and Mark Smith got a breakaway early in the game. He went down and he slam dunked. That was the first slam dunk at Marion High School when they brought back the slam dunk, and they had to stop the game because he bent the rim. They didn't have breakaways back then. Yeah. They had the breakaway rims.
They looked maybe Daryl Dawkins before Daryl Dawkins.
But I remember that. So there was a little pressure there. I guess they put the pressure on you. Put your pressure on yourself, but they still perform well.
Okay. Well, so now that junior baseball season, like you said, you guys did really, really well. If I'm not mistaken, kind of looking at my research, I believe you guys made the regional.
That's right. Yeah. We had
it was in Muncie or against Muncie or something like that.
It was against Muncie when we played that regional in Anderson.
Okay, at Anderson.
Yeah, we played and the regional was held at Anderson back then. We played against Muncie in that first game. Ended up getting beat by 1 run. That was a time in my life. I was kind of down that game. But it was again, I was a high school kid, and during that year we had Bob Everling throwing for us, who
big picture.
Was a fireballer. Oh yes,
Stan Spratt. Talk about
Stan Spratt. Clean up anything in the outfield you want. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stan Spratt. John Maker was on the team. Bill Alter was on that team. Bill Alter, Bob Everling. They ended up playing for fast pitch for the Plymouth Club Bombers too, back home. Darren Loyne was a catcher back then. Rob Otis was another pitcher. I can just see some of these. Norman Churchill we had. Dewey Shear. We had Terry Thomas. There was so many people there. So many good players. But
check this out. You played for who the baseball field is named after.
That's right.
You played for Art Caldwell.
Coach Art Caldwell.
Talk to me a little bit about him, please.
Yeah, Coach Caldwell. I didn't really know him. Got to know him, of course. Good coach. Good coach. Very very good. He was there for you. He was there for the player. He really was. Coach John Bradley was his assistant back then, also. Coach Caldwell.
Charlie Arendelle was too, wasn't he?
Charlie
left to sell cars or something.
Yeah, I don't know what Coach Henry, if that was the case back then. He did leave and did something like that. But Coach Arendelle, now you talk about somebody who was a good pitcher too. Coach Arendelle was a good pitcher for Marion also. But yeah, Coach Caldwell, he was an outstanding coach, and I know that when we went to that regional, had I think that was one of those years. Was it that year? I was all conference DH, I believe, back then. But I didn't get to start that game. That kind of messed me up. We were starting all through the season, and come that game, I didn't start. But anyway, it really didn't matter because I know late in the game I got put in. I had a leadoff triple actually late in the game. Never did score. Got stranded at third base. Could have tied the game up. But we lost that game in the afternoon by 1 run to Muncie Central, and that was a heartbreaker. But we, like you said, we had a very good team back then.
Yeah, that's junior year baseball. I mean,
yeah,
was prime. I mean, and like you said, for me, baseball is America's favorite pastime. Football might be the favorite sport, but baseball is just something where you can, and in Marion, when I first moved here, and in that time as well, you had the VA, you had Lincoln, you had Matter Park, you had all these great, like you talk about the funnel clubs, stuff like that. So many people, locals, it was just baseball teams everywhere. And now there's nothing. I go behind the VA, you won't even recognize behind the VA.
No.
It don't look nothing like it used to.
I see that they do have Lincoln Field for.
And Lincoln is still like shout out to Tino Mishner.
Yes, Tino is a big athlete for us.
Baseball. Steph Simmons, they bleed baseball, and they're trying to get it back, and I'm proud of them.
Good, because I know that at one point in time I was the commissioner out there at Lincoln Field. I used to take care of those grounds out there under Pete Canary. Pete Canary was part of that board out there, and I used to do that for a few years out there also. So that was our feeder system, actually. That was our feeder system back then for giant baseball. And then we had pretty good field. I know it was Lincoln Field. There was Sunnycrest. They even had it at Francis Slocum. They even had Little League at Francis Slocum. The Braves and the Nats. It was so big, and we'd come together for that fireman's tournament or something like that.
What would you attribute its lack of popularity? Football or the internet, or is it?
A little bit of everything, probably. Man, we went through that phase when our factory started shutting down. People started moving and things started happening, and then of course volunteer coaches, folks to coach. We have some of that going on up here in Michigan too, as far as getting people to volunteer. You get parents to do it and maybe not know the game as well, but that's okay. I praise them for just stepping up to be a head coach like that. So, there's several things that probably contributed to the lack of.
It's all about the kids. So now, let's go into that senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Senior year football, 1976. And after the bicentennial,
Right.
You had some pretty good. You played pretty well as far as the highlight. Looking at it, I'm looking at a safety and an interception versus Anderson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last play of the first half. Can you talk about that with Dan? You remember that, Dan?
Well, I do believe that might have been the last game at Memorial Field. That might have been our final game there.
I think it was.
I thought we won.
Kane had 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I think we won that final game at Memorial Field 8-0. It might have been 8-0.
Yeah, 8-0.
Was it?
I think so.
8-0. It might have been 8-0. So I'm not for sure, but I do remember getting the fumble recovery, and that fumble recovery, they were on a drive down at our about the 5-yard line. A guy, he actually ran it in, but he fumbled. I just happened to jump on that ball in the end zone to save that one, and then getting the interception. I remember that Kenny McCain getting a couple of interceptions that game. I remember that also. Yes.
I mean, great memories, you know. But that senior year of football, you had in that defensive backfield, it was with Ronnie Warden, Kenny McCain, Lonnie Fisher's wide receiver. We talked about. Now, Big John had went on to. Did he go on to?
No, he was there. He was there with us. He was in our graduating class of '77.
Okay, because he got 300 yards against Kokomo.
Yep.
Yeah, he got 300 yards against Kokomo. Let's start off with that game. Talk about Big Hoss running them boys over at Kokomo.
Now, when you say Kokomo, all the games are starting to blend together now. But I tell you what, and we called him Big Hoss, and that's what he was too. He was like a thoroughbred coming through that line. You get him, just get him a little hole, and he run with his knees up, and he would put those knees dead in your chest. Yes. Like I said, you better hit him low, and you better come with some force when you was messing with Big John. Yeah, he'd run you over. And I never forget that Big John's mother, Mrs. Ruthie Macon, she was a big fan. God bless her soul too. Rest in peace, Mrs. Macon. But she was a big fan. I always remember it. That one of those games I had, they used to be in the sports hotline, Ken Hill, another name. Old Ken Hill used to have that sports hotline.
Hotline, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He would have the player of the week and stuff, and I got player of the week, and Mrs. Macon wrote out a nice letter to me and gave me this letter just to pump me up. You know, we had people.
I saw that. I got that. I have that.
No, you do.
I have that copy.
Well, I'll be daggone.
Yep.
You digging deep, buddy.
Hey, Coach, I got it, man. I got it right in this phone right here. But it's just, I love it, man. So now, there was I think the 5th or 6th game of the year, y'all played Mishawaka Marion.
Oh my goodness.
Mishawaka Marion.
Yes.
Fights and stuff. We lost big 40-0. Talk about that game, please.
Fights, that's probably frustration. A long ride. That was a long ride for us. Never forget that. Long ride, the Mishawaka Cavemen. That was being played, and I didn't know it at that time, but that was at school field. They played at school field up in South Bend. I can remember that. And they had a quarterback. I think he was a lefty. And he just picked us apart. We couldn't do a thing. I think yes. He picked us apart. Had good running backs, but they put a whooping on us that we was just ready to get on the bus and come back home. You know those things. And I think some of those fights was out of frustration. You know, you get that a lot. So some of those altercations out of frustration.
Coach, I found it. Look. He intercepted his second pass of the season last Friday at Marion's 20-0 homecoming win over Muncie Central. You went back into your zone on the play. The ball came to you. You probably wouldn't have turned around if Kenny McCain and Mark Snyder had to yell at me. I probably would have kept going with the receiver. It was a good rush by our front four. Now, do you remember?
Well, I'll be daggone. Yeah, I do remember that. Actually, I do. I do remember that.
Nobody does the research like I do.
I'm seeing that right now, Holland. You've done deep on that, and I do remember that. Especially that particular interception you talked about when Kenny came and hollered at me.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, because we in our stands. You was my DB coach. Well, I like to play linebacker, but
Well, yeah. Well, back then it was just the basics. Of course, we had Clyde Riley. Clyde Riley was our DB coach back then. He had played some professional football, and he was our DB coach. And we played mostly our thing. We played a little bump and run. We used to call it Mama Crash. We would bump and run on. We play a little easy technique. I think we was just man to man during that time, and just so happens I was running with the man, and Kenny was coming over. He was safety at that time, and he yelled, and I kind of looked up, and there it was. So, yeah, but it was communication. A lot of communication going on out there, though. We used to talk. Now, that's one thing that we did.
Tight end, strong left, one back, one
Yes,
back.
sir.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir. Yeah, you have to communicate.
Get 'em in there. So now what I'm looking to at this article, you played tight end as a freshman and sophomore. Did you touchdown?
Yeah, I did play tight end. Freshman was very interesting. Of course, again, we played. There was 3 different freshman teams in Marion at that time. Justice Jones and Marion High School, and our freshman team was so small. We only practiced with half a line. We ran our half of our right side of our offensive line, go against the left side of our defensive line for scrimmage because we didn't have enough people to fill out the whole thing. But we were undefeated back then. And again, we had a very tough team. I think we combined some players. Eddie Stewart was one of our running backs. He was very quick. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, we had Carlton Hayes as a quarterback. But I played tight end. I love receiving the ball, and I always loved my favorite play from running tight end was always the bootleg, because Carlton was my best friend, and he knew that he would boot out, and I'd run that flag, and he'd throw it right up there, and that's where I got most of my touchdowns off of that play right there. Of course, played a little linebacker too back then.
Man, I love it, man. It's bringing me back. I wish I could.
You flashing me back, way back, man.
And that's why I love that natural energy. You know, just because that's what I love to bring up. You know, just that natural energy, those memories that we may not even have thought of, and then there they go. You know, but let's talk a little bit more about just kind of how that season ended, and then maybe going into that off season, a little bit of the 77 basketball team. You know,
say that again. I kind of lost you there for a second.
Okay, let's just talk about finishing off that football season, going into the basketball season. You know, that 77 team had a lot expected of it, and it didn't get the 3 seed.
Yeah, it didn't pan out the way that everybody thought it should be. Of course, in Marion, you know, it was state championship or nothing else. You know, that's the way we think in Marion. That's the way it should be. Of course, you go for the gusto or go home. But again, I know that we had some of those basketball players from that team were playing on football. Of course, going over to the basketball season, and again. That year, I know I didn't try out for a basketball team, but again, we had a team there. I think it was who we had: Mark Smith, Carlton Hayes, Jess Allen Ball. The mayor. Yep, the mayor was on that team. So we had a lot of returning players coming back, but maybe not with a whole lot of experience per se. But they gave it all they had. They Giants fight and never die until the end. Yeah.
Well, sure. So now we're getting into the senior year of baseball. Then you're coming to your own senior year. Talk about some of your best memories from that senior year of baseball.
Yeah, some of the best memories. Some of those bus rides were fun. They were fun, and we didn't quite have the best year again that year in baseball as compared to the year before. I know that I started out. Personally, I was hitting down toward the bottom of the lineup, but then they moved me as leadoff. And then once I got to that leadoff position, I kind of turned myself on a little bit there. I started coming to my own as far as baseball goes. That's my favorite sport anyway. My father played baseball for Marion, had an opportunity to play pro ball, but got a little sidetracked, didn't play. But that was my sport, and I really enjoyed that. So I know that we went through that. Might have had a couple of injuries there through the year, but Ronnie Bax was one of our pitchers. I know that Norman Churchill plays second base. You know, there's just so many names out there, and I really don't want to miss anybody. But once I moved up to that leadoff position, we kind of started performing a little bit better. We did a few things. Me personally, of course, I was wanting to try to get myself in a position to try to get some scholarship money to try to play somewhere myself. That baseball, senior year, again, moving up there, just lineup, trying to get somebody to look at me to get some scholarship money, try to take some pressure off the folks, of course. My big dream was to go to Arizona State and play baseball. That was a big dream of mine because back then, of course, Arizona State was the place to be for baseball. But settled at Ball State University, went over here at Ball State. And it was a walk-on.
Did you have any other looks or any other offers?
No, not one. You know, back then now, if there wasn't a scout of some sort, some college in the stands, there wasn't very much communication amongst the coaches, I don't believe, as far as getting in. If you didn't, we didn't have the video equipment to get, put together tapes and films and send them off to coaches back then. So,
I'm actually hearing, there's coaches that keeping letters from kids.
Well, yeah, you know what? And there was I came across a box of letters for some kids one time. I don't know what, they had their name on them. The kids probably never got them.
Never got them. I mean, and there almost every athlete that I talked to, that's happened to. And,
yeah. Just the fact that the letter came in the kid's name, it might have been in care of a coach or something. The kid probably should have seen that letter.
Yeah.
Should have seen that
letter. Run it by somebody, but
right
in the box, and then the kid gets it 25 years later.
Right. No, and that's not right. No matter if it was just one of those generic letters from school. Some of the schools will send you those generic letters sometimes, but it doesn't matter. That was a United States mail that was addressed to a young person that it could have inspired that person to even work harder, maybe to do something. So, I don't know what the purpose of that was, or if it was done on purpose or what. I don't know, but that has taken place. That has happened. Yes, it has.
But let's go back talk about your freshman experience in Muncie on Ball State. And it's probably looked much different than it does now. But Muncie.
Yes. Freshman year at Ball State was a blast. Try not to look like a freshman, try not to act like a freshman, getting there. But that was a great experience. I'm going to try to make sure that my son experiences that college life too. First time away from home, you got your schedule. You can make out your own schedule. If you didn't want to get up and go to class at 7 in the morning, you didn't have to, but you had to get your hours in. So we always made sure that I tried to bust it the first part of the week, and then come Thursday, Friday, I might have had one class. That might have been at 10 o'clock, 10 to 12. And then I was in and out, then you're in the gym or whatever. But again, I was a walk-on there at Ball State for baseball. And the thing was, I knew in my heart, that I could play the game. And I knew that I could play somewhere. Now, Ball State was a Division I. They just had turned to a Division I. And I never forget the tryout, going over to the field to try out. The first day, and we had a scrimmage, and a first at bat for me. I don't know what they were doing, but they pulled in. And I hit a gapper, and I ended up legging it out for an inside the park home run. That was a legit inside the park home run. Yeah. I had a good tryout, and come cuts. Of course, Coach Rickle, Bob Rickle was the name of the coach, and he brought me into the office, and he kind of told me, he called me Nuker at the time. He said, Nuker, pretty good player, but I don't have any scholarships. He didn't have any scholarships, I could put you on the freshman team, and he just told us the freshman team, all they basically did was practice. They didn't have a schedule, anything like that. I said, no, Coach, that's not going to work. Right. I got cut. So the next year I went out again. Mm-hmm. I knew that I could play for that team. Yeah. I went out again. I made it to the final cut. Mm-hmm. Again, he says, there's no scholarships. However, that's okay. I'll go back to the gym.
Yeah, we'll go back to the gym.
I did it again. I didn't give up. I did it again. The next year I made the team.
The next year, you guys had some studs though. Wickensheimer and Nico.
Clint Wickensheimer ended up playing pro. Dodgers. We had Kent Lynch was from Wabash, Indiana. We played against Kent Lynch from Wabash. Jack Titus was from Madison Grant.
Yeah.
Over there. Played with a catcher by the name of Duvenjock, I believe his name was. He was from East Chicago. We had a couple people from New York. You know, we was getting these people from all around. We had a couple people from Wisconsin that was pretty good. But
pretty good team, man. Pretty good players.
We had pretty good players, yeah. So, yeah, I ended up making that my third year trying out. I made the team, actually made the team and did everything. I was a walk-on. I never did get any scholarship money, per se. I played for a couple, 2-3 years and never did get any scholarship money, but that was okay. That was okay with me because I knew that I could.
On the team now.
I was on the team and I was playing. I actually played. I know that the very first game that I got to actually play, it so happened that, and I don't know how it ended up this way, but my mother and father ended up coming over there to the game. I didn't know they were coming. And that morning, that morning when we went over to have batting practice before the game and things, the coach sat down and gave us the lineup, and he stuck me in there, and it was like a surprise to me, actually. But I performed pretty well. Had a triple, single, walks, stolen base, whatever. And then the very next day, we had to travel to Notre Dame, so they put the travel list up, and lo and behold, I was on that travel team. And from there on, it was. I'm on a team now. Yeah, it was from there on.
Make you, that perseverance of, and it has to teach lessons to this day, to young people that might be out there listening. Persevere, almost a Michael Jordan story. You know what I mean?
That's correct.
You watch. I'm going to come back next year.
That's right.
I ain't trying to do that. I'm going to go to the gym. Third year, watch. Now I made the team, and now I'm a contributor. Now let's go.
Yeah, I really knew that I could do that. After that third, of course, that third year, that was all over after that, of course. But I think Coach Rickle probably got tired of seeing me too.
So now you're cutting you the fourth year. Now you ain't coming over here.
Yeah, but whatever you want to do, you can do it. You just put your mind to it. You can succeed. A little setback, don't let that discourage you. Get up and keep
good over there was, being a melting pot of people from all over the country. It is Delaware County. In the
Now I was the only minority on the team, so to speak. Okay, and we would have the city of Muncie. The city of Muncie would come in to Ball State. They would come into the gym, they would playing balls, things like that. But I met a lot of people from all over the world. Actually, there was a foreign exchange students, a lot of folks that we met. Didn't have any problems over at Muncie at all, really.
I've never really had ever.
No.
Never had any problems with
now,
young man from Marion that got shot over there 3 or 4 months ago, Groundray, I believe, but don't know the circumstances on that. But
yes,
for the most part, Muncie is, Muncie Gras, stuff like that.
Yeah. Ball State is Muncie. Ball State makes Muncie. And as far as I'm concerned, it kind of makes Muncie. We try not to go out into the city of Muncie and you stay within the confines.
On the village.
Stay within the confines there. But never had really a problem over there at Muncie.
Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. So now let's talk about the transition of, now that we're graduating out. What type of do you end up graduating? What type of degree did you graduate? And what type of work avenue were you looking forward when you graduated?
Yeah, well, when I first went to Ball State, I didn't declare a major at first. When I first got there, after being there for a minute, then I said I was going to go to criminal justice. Yeah. So I was in the criminal justice. I was taking those. It's funny because I was taking classes. It wasn't going well, but I changed my major because I found out that over at Ball State, I was in the party life too, and I was breaking more laws than I could uphold at the time. So I said, this isn't going to work. So hey, physical education. I said, hey, let me go. I'll go into that. I keep me active and things. So I got a bachelor of science there. With a minor, in, it was communications, radio and television was my minor. Yeah. I got to graduate. And we had Sigmund Freud. We had Zig Ziglar, I think, was our speaker. That might have been Zig Ziglar, our speaker for our graduation. We had it outside in the big old area out there at the school. But
Yeah,
yeah.
good stuff, man. So, what was your first teaching job?
Oh my goodness,
Things like
yeah.
that.
Came right back here to Marion, of course. Came back to Marion, and my very first job actually was a teaching job. Well, it wasn't a teaching job. It was homeschool coordinator, is what they called it.
Okay.
I would. I was stationed throughout the different elementary schools. Francis Slocum, I had a desk. I had a desk at Allen, Riverview, all these schools. I had a desk, and I would go to these different schools and be stationed there. But I would be in charge of going around. Maybe some kids were having some absentee problems, or I would go investigate that stuff for them. If they needed things, I'd try to hook them up with shoes and coats and things of that nature. I was just coordinating between the home and the school. I would try to.
They still have that now. They still have some guys like you, cool with the kids and really talk to and come through with personal things that do that. And I'm still glad they still do.
Yeah. So I was the very first homeschool coordinator. Actually, they kind of developed that job and gave me that job. Before that, though, I was the freshman baseball coach. I became freshman baseball coach before I even had that job.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We came back after we graduated. We was in the gym one time. Old heads coming back to the high school. We was upstairs playing basketball. I'll never forget Coach Mel Wysong came up to me. We was up there, and he said he needed a freshman baseball coach, and asked if I would be interested. Yep.
That was noise to that was music to your ears.
Music to my ears.
You got your man right here.
That's right. And he asked me, and I said, yes, sir. And so we went from there. So that was actually my first job at Marion, but contract-wise, it was the homeschool coordinator the next year that I got to be the homeschool coordinator. I think that was in 85, maybe, somewhere in there, 85, 86.
Good stuff. So now, when I got there in 88, you and Coach Davis were the first Black coaches. But doing my research, Mr. Donald was there, and he was the only one. But then a couple years later, like I said, by the time I got there, it was you and rest in peace, Mr. Davis.
Yes.
New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. I played with all Italian, Polish coaches like that. They were good. I played for my coach, Coach Bartrup. He won 200 some games over there. But when I moved here, I saw you and Coach Davis. I couldn't believe it, man. I'd never, and when we talk now that the kids have to see it, you know what I mean? And just seeing you and Coach Davis there, how did that happen? And, because Coach Surface came in 84, and how did that work to get on the squad after Coach Donald left and things of that nature? Yeah,
like you said, Jimmy Donald was there, Mr. Donald. I owe a lot to Mr. Donald.
Hey, big Kentucky horseman, boy. He's
a lot to Mr. Donald. I got on board on the freshman squad, freshman team, freshman coach with Coach Davis, Coach Archie Davis, Coach Swantek. I don't know, Bill Swantek was his name.
I think he did the TV or something.
He was there. I know I coached with Randy England.
Yeah, I remember Coach England.
Freshman team too. Before he became the freshman head coach, he was coaching with us also. But I never forget Mr. Archie Davis, though. You can always hear Archie. He don't know. He had that voice out there.
Instant respect.
Right. No doubt.
Big old bear of a man.
Big old bear of a man. That's right.
I see him right now, man.
But that's how.
And on Saturdays, they'd have us come in. We run them hills behind Harts and Kennedy. Jumping in boxes and running them hills, man, behind Harts and Kennedy.
That's right. There's a trail back there.
Yes.
There's a trail back there.
I don't know anymore. I bet maybe JROTC might run it, but we go back there,
Yep. Yeah. But those were good times back then. So that's how I got my break into football, actually. and then did that freshman job for a few years before breaking into the Giants varsity, and that was when actually Coach Donald had he was leaving, and there was a position that came open.
Uh-huh.
I applied for the position, and actually it was a defensive line position, and Coach Surface took a chance on me, and he let me coach D line. Now I had a lot of help too, because I was a defensive back coach, and Coach Ron Vermillion was doing the defensive backs at the time too. So I know that Coach Kevin Cocker, he was the offensive line coach back then, and he helped me a lot. He set me down and talked a lot of line work.
Fundamentals, basics.
That's correct.
How to move, go to.
That's right. Yeah. So I learned a lot, and that was a good thing for me to kind of go outside the box there for myself.
Everything.
Right, exactly.
That's what I love about coaching is I love the nuance of things. Okay, where are the steps? Where's your hand should be of the neck, inside shoulder.
Right. See, that's those fundamentals, and a lot of people don't know what those kids are going through, what they're learning, and how they're supposed to be. And those kids are thinking about that. There's a lot of processing going on in their heads during that time. But
schoolwork and girlfriends and home.
That's right.
I gotta remember all this crap on the field.
There's a lot going on in their head. So, anytime they're out on the field, they're trying their best. They're not out there to lose. You know that.
Yes.
They're giving their best to what they can do. So, yeah, but Coach Cocker gave me a lot of help, assistance there as a defense. He was the offensive line coach, and I think Bob Whitaker was there at that time. Big Will Whitaker was on the offensive line during that time.
Okay.
But yeah, Jimmy Donald had stepped down, and I kind of took that position.
Okay, and now that's going into the getting that quarterback, the Richies, the Roberts, those guys. We talk about that 88 squad or the 87 squad.
Yep.
The 88 squad that went to Ben Davis.
I wasn't good with the dates, but I know that I was a part of the freshman squad when they went to the state. I was still part of the freshman coaching staff, but of course, we all had on Friday game nights, we all had responsibilities as coaches. We'd all be there. So I know, that Richie Thompson, Jeff Ginn, do you remember Jumper, Ryan Jump? I think it was Ryan Jump.
Kevin Jump.
Kevin Jump, yes, Kevin Jump. Oh my goodness. You talk about somebody who would stone you.
Yes.
He would stone you, but they had a lot of Damian Springer. They just had a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
A lot of athletes. And Coach Surface, when he first got to Marion, he went straight to the boys club. And he was recruiting folks. That ain't worked. I remember, who was it? Was it Chuck Jackson? Chuck Jackson.
Chuck Chill Out. I played with Chill Out.
Ooh, big muscles. I can remember.
Cornerback.
Yeah, and
defensive back.
We had a game. I forget who it was against, but we were coming into the stadium to get dressed. We was there early to get dressed, and the other team came. The other team was coming in, right? So Coach Surface had the other coach was talking to him out there from the stadium, and he had Chuck come out. And Chuck came out. He had his pants on, but he didn't have any shirt on or nothing like that. And Chuck was rude. And you could look in that coach's eyes, and that was just a ploy. Coach kind of had to do that. And that coach looked at Chuck and was like, uh-oh,
You will be the New Jersey Massacre.
That's right. So
Ormsby too. KO
was just that.
His back was as big as a slab of beef hanging out there.
KO. That's knocked out. That's right. So there was again, you bring up a lot of good names there. I wouldn't remember everybody, but yeah, it was a great team.
Great team, yeah. Now let's talk about some of those moments at Marion High School. Now, you were there. Do you remember when them boys came through the lunchroom with them Confederate flags, walked in to one side and then walked through the cafeteria, and then walked out where remember the blonde lady used to stand there by the door, Miss
Yes, I remember her name. I wasn't in there at that time because I had
Confederate flag. Ears and bellies.
No,
I said, man, we get rumble.
I was not there.
And then they walked out past her, and she was like the monitor at the door there, at the senior when the seniors walked out. I can't remember her name, and she had blonde hair. She was
yes, I remember her. I can't remember her name either. I can't see her face.
Man, after school, boy, it made the paper. It made the front.
Those were the same young men who would ride through the parking lot with that Confederate flag in a truck. I remember that.
Yeah, that was the same.
I remember that. Yeah, I wasn't there. I always draw kind of the short. I call it the short end of the stick because I always have class during that lunch hour, and it was it was kind of that split thing back then. Yeah. So I have class during that lunch hour, and then whenever I did go down and get lunch, I always took it back to my office and ate. I didn't eat in the faculty area at that time for various reasons. But
hey, you remember Mr. Murphy, the principal, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. I remember Mr. Murphy.
Hey, you walk down the hall, you smell incense. I smell number 8. There's got to be a black man up in that office. Hey, you know what I'm talking about? I ain't seen that brother in 33 years, man.
I don't know where he's at.
I walked through that office, boy, smelling at number 8, because I used to be office aide for Mr. Moses in there. Man.
He called the number. He called the number of the incident. That's
what number 8's walking down the hall, Mr. B.
Oh my goodness.
He stand out in the hall with folks like, do you have any stories with Mr. Murphy at all?
Well, no, not really. Mr. Murphy or Mr. Coleman was another one. Mr. Coleman. I don't have any real story. Mr. Murphy, I don't know if he went to Ball. He didn't go to Ball State, I don't think. But I remember him. I think he was from Anderson, perhaps.
You know what? That sounds familiar.
He's from Anderson.
Now let's talk about that South Bend semi-state in '89. When Kevin Lorton.
Yes.
Come down there, put that shot up, and it rolled out.
His first 3-pointer. That guy's first 3-pointer he hit all year.
And he lit it up. He kept shooting.
Yeah, that was Coach Gunn. Yep, Coach Gunn. We went up to semi-state. We played at Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. That was South Bend St. Joe.
Yep.
David Anderson. Was Jody McKay.
At that point, last game ever, 38. We could have had 40.
I remember sitting on that bench with a white towel. Me and Don Hall, guy's named Don Hall.
There's a picture in the hotline of you on the sideline.
Yeah, we was waving that towel, and it got rowdy in there, and I'll never forget it. I think Jerry Freshwater was a point guard back then, I believe.
Yeah, I think he missed a free throw toward the end as well. That set up the stage of dude hit the shot.
Of the 3-pointer, and that guy hit that 3-pointer. But that was an experience because we just knew that we get past that. We go to state. Yeah, we go to state.
13 was there. Jason had whooped Montrose, the twins from Northfield. I mean, if it was Big Mac, it was. They had the commercial on Sunny Crest when they was at the water tower thing. I mean, it was big time. They even had a rapper for the students, and I didn't miss. I missed the cutoff, so I ended up listening to the game on the radio with Jim Brunner. But half the students that got big, they was up there.
Yeah,
I remember to this day. It's on YouTube, so I went back and watched it.
Yeah, that was a great experience, especially for myself, because that was the first time that I really got to be behind the scenes per se in that state
big
uh,
time.
actually, yeah, you have to drive. I was driving one of the vans up and getting the police escort to the game, and after the game, and experiencing that kind of stuff, going in and dressing in those locker rooms with Notre Dame. Notre Dame back then was just, that's where that's the same place that Notre Dame snapped UCLA's big winning streak in that same Shoemate and Adrian Dantley and them did that to him. So that brought back a lot of memories. Yeah, so that was a great experience.
Beautiful stuff, man. So you end up being at Marion a long time. I mean, through the Stephen Simmons era, the Terrell era, the Billy and PJ era.
Yeah.
What precipitated your leave to? Did you go to Taylor after you left, man?
Yeah. What happened there? I know that Coach Surface. It was his last year. Coach Surface was leaving.
Yes.
And when I always said when Coach Surface left, I was going to leave. I always said that. But what transpired? Yeah, but when he left, I was going to leave. But what transpired was Coach Bell had came to town and took over the Taylor job. He was the Taylor University coach. Yeah. And Coach Tommy Donald again was part of his staff. And Coach Donald left his staff creating an opening again. Yes. Okay? And so Coach Donald kind of name dropped my name to Coach Bell, and Coach Bell kind of checked me out. And so I left Marion and went to Taylor. I did apply for the head coaching job when Coach Surface left, but didn't get it. But I went to Taylor.
Back Shea.
Exactly.
2-8, 31-year-old coach went 2-8. I heard he was high, good, and energetic. But,
right.
He ended up, I don't even think he finished out the year, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not for sure, because I was stuck over at Taylor. Well, and that was a whole new experience in itself. That was a whole new experience.
Challenges.
Some of the challenges?
Yes,
some of those challenges. I thought I was a coach. I found out that I found out.
Coach, you part ball coach.
That's right. Yeah. I found out there was a lot more to the game.
Yes.
What we were teaching them at Marion High School under Coach Bell.
That's what I was learned about 3 years ago. It was, because I'm the longest tenured coach there currently. I've been there since Vermillion was there. So I've seen the losses. We were 0-30. I've been a part of all of that. And we got Coach Chambers and we started to win.
Coach Bell, I'll tell you, he's a man.
He's a man.
He's a man. That's correct. And he's good for those young people at Marion High School.
Yes, we need it.
Yes, especially the young black kids. Yes, we do need that. I tell you, when I got over here at Taylor, he taught me a lot about the position of defense because he was a defensive back coach. He's head coach at Jackson State. He went on to Wake Forest and was
Wake Forest, Indiana.
Indiana. He's with Coach Paul, the assistant coach for the coach.
I learn something every day.
You learn something every day from him. That's right. But I learned a lot, the different techniques, easy to press techniques and all those type of techniques. Your positioning on the field, being so far off the here, it means something. It means something in football. It really does. We've taught those fundamentals and those positionings to those players. Not only that, but we had other responsibilities over there at Taylor.
Challenges. When I talk about the challenges, now I heard the basketball coach over there wasn't all cool, and then it's a different demographic. Now you have.
It was a different demographic. I think Coach Bell was the first black coach there at Taylor University. I think that was different, of course.
Yeah. And then, but you think 2006, it would be okay, but even then.
But the time there, I tell you what, I enjoyed it. I had the opportunity to stay. I did have the opportunity to stay. Coach Kaufmarker came in. Yeah.
He had been there until I think last year. They had got beat real bad. Indiana Wesleyan beat him real bad over here at Indiana Wesleyan, and he wasn't there much anymore.
Yeah, yeah. He did ask me. He wanted me to stay. He asked me to stay. The what?
He used to be a quarterback for Taylor.
Okay, yep. But I chose not to because it wasn't a full-time job. I was a part-time. I was part-time, and I was still had my job at Marion High School.
Uh-huh.
See, and that in itself was a challenge for me because under Coach Bell, we'd have to be over there in that gym at 5 o'clock in the morning for workouts in the morning football. I had to go over there, do that workout, come back, get ready to go to Marion High School.
And work at school all day.
And then try to be the first one out of that parking lot at Marion High School to get back over to Taylor for football practice. And then, of course, we had to break down you break down your practice film. I was in charge of making sure that each coach had his position film copied that night before I left. I was in charge of our accommodations on the road. I had to make the hotel arrangements. I was in charge of the food, made sure we had our food ready. I also did our transportation. Yeah, we had a budget. I had to line up all the buses, had to do all the meals, took care of the hotel accommodations. Then we, after coming back off that road, it might have been a 6-8 hour bus drive. We might have been in Iowa, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Back off that road, you went back up in their office before you left, and you broke down those forms again. Yep. And of course, and that was on a Saturday. So Sunday morning, of course, we get the kids up and we go to church somewhere. You take them somewhere, take them to church somewhere.
And you had some local flavor on that team. I think Ty Johnson,
yes,
Sanchez, big Sean Pettiford, I believe too.
Yep, Sean Pettiford was there. We had a couple great players from Oak Hill too. Was it Ty Needler maybe?
Yes, Needler and Brad. Ty and Brad, I believe.
We had some good talent from the area.
Brad went to Indiana Wesleyan.
Indiana Wesleyan, okay. But we had some good talent. Yeah.
Flavor. Good stuff. So after Taylor, what did you get yourself into and started doing?
Yeah, after Taylor though, when I left Taylor, came back to Marion, ended up getting laid off. Ended up getting laid off at Marion. And, I had been through a couple other layoffs before that earlier on, and always survived those. I always got called back before I really got laid off. But that last one didn't survive that last one. So that kind of set me back. It was a kind of smack in my face, really.
Yeah.
I
bleed purple and gold. And
right.
Off some coat or some teacher from Podunk, who knows where.
Right, but it was what it was. It didn't lead me too far. I ended up going up. I got remarried, and my wife her hometown was South Bend. She was working in Michigan City at the time, but I relocated up there, got a job up in South Bend, a teaching job at South Bend. I was at South Bend Washington High School.
How was it up there? Different demographic than that.
Well, now you're talking very different. Yeah, you're talking very different. We was on the west side. South Bend, Washington's on the west side. It's predominantly black. Okay, and it was a different culture. It was great though. I enjoyed it. I really did. In fact, before that, when I had gotten laid off at Marion, there was some football job openings up there. South Bend Riley. There was another one. It was Riley and Adams. I interviewed for those two positions. Okay. Got down to the phone, but I didn't get the job. But I did get up there and got a teaching job. Okay. So I was at South.
When Ty and them played, Marion did go up to South Bend Adams and
play South Bend Adams. Yeah, I know that. We used to go up to school field, same place that we played Bishop Walker Marion and got beat back in the 70s. That's a spot, yeah. But I like that field too. I kind of like that little field there. But I got up there, South Bend, Washington. Was only there for a couple of years. I did was assistant track coach for the girls.
Okay.
I remember coming down to Marion for the Marion relays. Became for the Marion relays.
Always good to come back home, man. Now,
Right.
did you tell the girls up there the pageantry?
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
When we had black men, we had Alexandra, we had everybody.
You know I was bragging. And when we came down, I took the girls into. We got to take the girls into and show them the gym and all that good stuff. You know, let them see some of that history. Let them know what's going on. See,
have you been in there lately? Have you been in the Marion High School lately into the gym?
I was in there probably 4 months, 5 months ago, 4 months ago. I had Mrs. Orsby.
Yeah.
Call her and had her because I was interested going in, and I never could get down for a game because of my work schedule. It's too long of a drive to get there on time. So one Saturday, it was on a Saturday or something, called Mrs. Orsby. She said she would get me in and take me around, and it is lovely. It's beautiful.
All right, so you had so you showed the girls around Marion High School?
Yeah, we kind of showed around Marion High School, let them see all that tradition, you know, that good tradition. I always brag about Marion High School up there, but they're in their own right, had their own tradition too. You know, that was the home of Skylar Diggins. In fact, I just came in when I got hired. That was Skylar's last. Well, Skylar had just left there, so they had just won a state championship. Yeah, they had a good program.
One of the most beautiful girls that you'll ever see. You know.
Yeah, she's very nice. In fact,
a child now, I believe.
Right. Used to go watch her. I had season tickets for the Notre Dame girls basketball season when she played. So I used to go up there and see her, watch her play a lot too. But they had their own little tradition. You know, in class up there, I had a guy by the name of Brett Banasevich. He was one of the top of the Mountain View Tour, the BMX bikes that they do on the floor.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he was in my class, in my gym class. He would have to miss classes sometime to go out to Denver or wherever they was doing that thing.
Was he athletic? Was he?
He was athletic. He was very athletic. He ended up having an accident during that and kind of got paralyzed too. But he opened up a spot up there in South Bend for all the kids to do that BMX stuff up there. He's got an indoor spot up there now. But we had him and then a young man that played football, a wide receiver up there. In fact, he's got some state records. He ended up playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, actually. I can't recall his name. I had him in class too, but they've got some athletes also there. Okay. But enjoyed my time there.
That's good stuff. Now, what precipitated your move to Michigan?
The move to Michigan came through my wife. My wife received a new job offer there. My wife's an accountant, and she received a new job offer up here. And of course, she made 2 times as much money as I did. So we kind of chased the money. We chased the money, and we took a chance and moved up here to Michigan. So when I got up there, I was just doing some substitute teaching around the area. And then I got hooked into the local hospital up here. They needed some teachers. They were going to a new electronic medical record system in the hospital, and they needed teachers to come in and learn this system to train their physicians and their caregivers how to use that. So I got hooked into that, and that's where I'm at now. That's what I'm doing at the local hospital here. I'm still teaching. It's just a different audience.
That is good stuff.
Yeah.
I just can't say again, Coach Nukes, man, how an honor it is to have you on my podcast. And we're having some great conversations. There's things I haven't thought of, people I haven't thought about. I mean, everything is just it's meant to happen, man. Like I said, I'm honored to have you.
Well, for you to even think about me is an honor in itself for me. Actually, Holland. Some of those people I know, Dave Colescott, Lyndon Jones. You got giant greats that you've had on this podcast.
I didn't ask you nothing about the Dream Team.
Oh my goodness!
What kind of stories you got about the Dream Team?
I got an opportunity to hang out on the bench with them in the locker room and do some things when the Dream Team was around too, because I was still a freshman coach for Coach Green. I was freshman coach at Jones, I believe, at the time. eighth grade coach during that time. And I tell you what, I always liked Coach Green and the way he went about his business.
Mm-hmm.
He's a basketball man. He had a book made out about the matchup zone defense. He gave me a copy of that and had me study that. Under his tutelage, they would bring the boom box. They'd have that boom box in there, and they were just laid back. And Coach Green would let them do their thing as long as they were doing the right thing.
As long as they were doing the right thing. And we know that we're not going to bring any names up. There's some of the stories of some of the player or two that's had issues and stuff. But what, the community supports them. The ones that that's had kind of wayward, once their stars faded, the community of Marion still remembers.
Yes. Again, I miss being a Marion. I miss the people of Marion. We got some outstanding. We really do have some good people in Marion. I miss the town.
It's in the water.
I miss my friendships. I had there. Marion's come a long way, and I see it really on the move. Like I say, Marion, the city on the move. Yeah. I see that happening now in Marion also.
Yeah, we have Ronnie and Linda's son going for mayor. We're kind of a special town as far as diversity and things of nature. So win-win everywhere, Coach. Marion's becoming.
Yeah, it kind of makes me proud because a lot of the people that I had, a lot of those young people that I had in class, they are the ones that are initiating that change. Sure. And I feel I'm proud. I'm proud to be from Marion. I'm proud to be a part of their lives, that have touched their lives in some type of way. And now they're leading that charge in Marion. I'm just proud to be from Marion.
Let's kind of wrap up a little bit. Now, what does the future hold for Tony Nukes?
Yeah. Hopefully retirement. However,
through the pandemic and
we got through the pandemic. We did all that. I've got a few more years. I could retire. I have a 10-year-old that we're doing sports. We're doing the baseball, the basketball, the football, the floor hockey, the
things like that. It's got to be there.
Yep, he's keeping me busy. I know that. When we get finished here, I'm probably going over to the batting cages tonight. Let him go hit. He's going to go hit. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what dads do. That's
what
dads do, man.
And he's keeping
those lessons.
He's actually keeping me young. He's keeping me young. I got my aches and pains, but hey, it's okay.
I'm talking about them aches. Hey, I got up this morning. It was 17 degrees. I thought, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hawk up north though. That hawk up north is different than down here.
It's a little different. The lake effect snow is what's different actually. That's some heavy stuff, and we get a lot of it up here. Of course, Michigan, that's what they do.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know what, Coach, man, I won't keep you too long, but like I said before, it's an honor having you on. Hey, we might need to have to do this again.
Hey, because
I'm communications guy.
I need to speak upon. We did a lot of talking about the guys, but there's a lot of young lady giants out there that I need to mention.
Smith was a star. Robbie McCain.
I had there was a whole lot of Ernest.
Burns.
Judy Burke, Kathy Morse was Kim Blackman was my assistant coach. Coach John Ernst, Coach Steve Burke. There's a lot of people who helped me out who I miss them. I owe a lot to those folks. Matt Weissall, Jim Fricky, Coach Ray Sim. There's just so many people. I start name dropping. I'm gonna miss people, but I miss them. And they did a lot for me.
I feel that so much, Coach, because like I said, in this 3 years, it's hit or miss. You don't know. I say see you later, but I may not see you later.
That's right.
So I'm saying here today, gone today.
Yeah, and that's how quick it can happen. That's correct. That is correct.
It's right now.
It's right now.
Yep. But I want to thank you, Coach. Like I said, maybe we can do this one more time, man. Get some of the stuff. If anything comes up, you never know.
Okay, I'll sure be up for it though, Holland. I enjoyed this talking with you. You opened up a lot of memories for me.
Yeah. Hey, you know me. I got research, baby. I got some more.
You do a good job on research.
You were on the sidelines for a bunch of that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I can go back and say, hey, what about the girls' basketball? What about the girls' softball, man? What about the time when Tavares did this, or when Steph Simmons did that, or when Joe?
Right. Yes.
So I want to thank you, and we're gonna have another one of these again, brother.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
God bless you, man.
God bless you.
Yes, sir. Like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to hit that notification button to see more from the Never Die podcast.